This is kind of a throwing something together here. It's not really a big production or anything like that. So hopefully everyone had a good Christmas. I did. Just got back from a cruise. I've been sick and gained a lot of weight, so now I'm like on this, you know, trying to get back in shape here. So yeah, it's that time of year, right? It's channel update here for anybody who watches for the weather or tornado coverage. Well, guess what? I think we're really past that fall season, that fall storm chasing season around here. Sometimes we would get a tornado outbreak as late as New Year's, but it's not going to happen this year. So I think we're pretty much past that. So maybe late February into March, we'll be back into it, I would suppose. So we'll see. We'll see how everything goes. So we're in this kind of lull time. If we have some snow type stuff going on out there, maybe I'll go cover some snow. I know some of the storm chasers do that. So there's that. Another thing, before I get into the topic of the video here, I'll be upgrading the radios here, or at least one. This Yaesu 857, that's one I communicate with on the local repeaters here. I have my Yaesu 450 here and the chicken band down there, right? Because I'm not above chicken band. I'm a ham radio operator, but I'm also in a CB. Listen, I'm radioactive, and that's what I like to do. And I know a lot of ham radio operators look down on CBers. I don't. Okay, I don't. I look at it as an opportunity. Okay, and listen, it's still fun. It's still fun for me. But I will be upgrading because fantasy football ends this weekend. I'm guaranteed at least $300. Grand prize for first place is like over 700. So if I'm gonna finish second, it's at least 300. Finish first, 700. And I can't remember the model number, but there's a Yaesu I'm gonna get. It's going to allow me to cross band repeat. I'm out here in the shop, but a lot of times I like to sit on my easy chair inside the house and talk on the radio. Now that's why I've done before. And I don't have that option because my HT will not hit any repeaters, just none. Okay, because of where we're at. So so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get that, and also digital. I don't have anything digital. I've been one of those guys dragging my feet on digital because I'm a little old school. But anyway, so there's that. I'll be upgrading and waiting on fantasy to end. Could I buy one now? Absolutely. But hey, it's part of the fun. That way I could tell the guys in the fantasy football, like, you guys donated for this radio, and I appreciate it. And those guys are not radio people, and they're like, what kind of radio's that? I don't know. What's a ham radio? Can you eat it? So anyway, so about this, so I came out here, checked some email, turned up the radios, kind of what I do. Listen, I saw that there was some activity on there. There's some guys talking about club politics, and I don't want to get into that part, but I kind of, want to kind of lead into that, maybe use a little bit of that, because a lot of the people, because I'm going to send this to the club Facebook page that I'm a part of. A lot of the people probably don't know too much about me because I'm new to the area. I'm new to this, where these guys have been, in this local club. These guys have been around ham radios longer than I've been alive, and I'm 45 years old. Okay, so, and much respect to those guys. But I've been around radios all my life too. Okay, I've been around radios with my parents and and all that. And then when I became an adult, I had a radio in my car, and then I got my license and all that kind of stuff. I've been around radios all my life, and and I know about clubs, I know about stuff like that. And I'm also up to date in 2023 into 2024, and there's a lot of things that can help a club grow. But even though I'm 45 years old, I'm still kind of considered the new generation. right? Especially with these guys that are in their 60s and 70s and stuff like that. A lot of these guys are old enough to be my dad, so um and not all of them are behind the times, they get the whole social media and the marketing and stuff like that. But a lot of these guys, kind of like I am in digital, old school, I'm kind of dragging my feet on digital. When I got guys and clubs I've been in before saying, oh, yeah, digital's the way to go. These guys older than me. So, give you guys a little bit of a background in case you don't know. Before I came here, I was a very active club member in Bosque County, Texas. As a matter of fact, one of my YouTube channels has some old club stuff from, gosh, 15 years ago. When I was filming a lot of that, and I was an officer and all that kind of stuff. But even back then, social media had a big part, because even though we had a small club, Bosque County is it's north of Waco, north and west of Waco, right? And it's most of the members of the Bosque County Club don't even live in Bosque County. I think it's now defunct now because anyway, that's again club politics. But anyway, I was a board member of that. I was very active, and a lot of people found that club because of my YouTube videos. And back then, I had, a few hundred subscribers, not too many. And and some people will come, say, hey, I saw your video on this. And I was like, hey, because I would do videos like on field day and just clubs, or club meetings, and just the get-togethers we would do. And then that's how they would find, say, hey, I want to be a part of those guys. And that was 15 years ago. You fast forward to now. You've got big freaking YouTube channels full of people doing ham radio stuff, and they make a living off of it. I'm not saying I'll ever make a living off of ham radio videos. I'm far from that. But I make a living off YouTube. I make a living off social media, and I kind of know what marketing on social media is. And we could all stay in the whole, in the Jurassic times, where all you hear on the radio is a bunch of old codgers, and then all of a sudden they all go silent key, and what do you got? A bunch of dead bands. Or you could go and promote your club. You could promote your ham fest. You could promote a lot of things. You promote ham radio right here on social media. If you're watching this video, you're watching social media, and I think that's where a lot of people kind of get stuck in behind the times. And that's the reason why you need the younger guys that, and not just younger. I always sit there and say, oh, younger guys, this, let's just face it. A lot of old codgers I know that I talk to on the radio don't do social media. Some of them, I still have a couple of guys that I can consider my Elmers, that I still talk to from time to time. I go to Hamfest in Belton and see these guys. Go to Hamfest in Shreveport, see these guys. They don't have social media. They got a flip phone. So they're not too much old. They're not like real old either. It's like, hey, I'm just this. I enjoy radio. Radio is my social media. And that's cool. I like radio as social media. I do. I also like social media on the internets. You can you could have the two come together to promote ham radio and the importance of it. Because let's just face it, ham radio is still very important to to the general public out there. It just is. You ask why? Well, what channel are you watching? You're watching a ham radio. You're watching a weather channel, right? Well, what is the weather? Listen, The National Weather Service, they monitor these repeaters. They, Skywarn and all this kind of stuff. All the hurricanes that come out, they'll knock out communications. They won't knock out our antennas. They won't knock out our radios. Okay, because it goes back to the old school way. And that's the reason why we always have to practice nets. We always have to practice certain, types of things, and have up-to-date training on e-coms and things of that nature to not just to keep keep things going, right? Keep you on your toes, because you just never know. Just never know when there was an explosion at a fertilizer plant or warehouse, whatever it was, in the town of West Texas. And the club that I was a part of, and I was out on the road driving a truck, so I wasn't there. But our club, because it was so rural, that they did not have enough volunteer fire department and law enforcement to help evacuate that town. The town of West Texas had to get evacuated. So they needed the help of the ham radio operators in that area. And our club, Bosque County, was some of the people like, hey, help direct traffic and things of that nature. I mean, that same night that, they had that explosion, they were there. And that wasn't too long ago. That was 10 years ago. So, you have that going on still to this day. And it's very important that we have ham radio, but it's also important that, hey, we got Ham Fest to promote. We got radio events that we want to promote. We got our club that we want to continue to grow. Social media is a big thing because let's just face it. People like me, I know about clubs, but a lot of people don't. A lot of people don't know that there's clubs out there. This may sound ridiculous to people, but this may sound ridiculous, but a lot of people don't realize that there's ham radio clubs out there. I mean, I did because I've been around radios all my life. I've been in clubs all my life. Okay. But a lot of people don't. Cause what did I do? It's like when I went to Ham Fest and Belton and got my antennas, poles, coax, and stuff like that to plug these radios back in. What did I do? I searched out the local clubs around me because I know that there's clubs. So I can, have one over here, and I have the two to choose from. One of them's small, one of them's pretty big. And I chose a big one, even though the small one, they have their issues. It's not like, hey, I just want to kind of join in first. I don't want to sit there and, because I can't make, I just rather just kind of join in and be a part of the crowd until, something, this small club, I don't have a problem with them, over here on the other side. Like I said, I don't want to name clubs here, but they can't keep their repeaters up on the air. It's all that kind of stuff. It's like, man, that sounds like a freaking kind of a headache right there. I mean, I want something to talk on. Okay. Well, anyway, long story short, I know it's getting long, but it was brought up on the radio a little earlier, and I wanted to put my 2 cents in without keying up on the radio and doing all that because tensions were a little high on that. And I was like, I'll do a video on this. This is a good topic. And because this is, can go for any club. This is not just one club. And hopefully, things, people can kind of open their eyes to social media and how important it is and how beneficial it could be in involving, our hobby. So anyway, I hope you guys got a little bit of something out of it. 2024, big year. I got a lot of stuff personally going on with my business. But in ham radio, I want to get more involved. I got back involved in ham radio almost 2 years ago. And then I joined the local club here almost a year ago. I think it was April of 2023. So we'll be embarking on our second year. And I'm the type of guy that wants to be involved. Once I'm into something, I'm into it. But once I'm out of it, if I lose interest, I'm out, you know? And, and that's one of the things that you need. Here's another thing. I'm glad I'm, keeping this thing going a little bit. Here's another thing. I mentioned the CB radio right here, right? You want to be open to everybody that comes into your club and inquires about your club. You want to be open to them. You don't want to shun them out. You don't want to ignore them, especially if you're in a leadership position. If you're in a leadership position, you say, hey, here's this new guy, let's not make things awkward for him and everything. It's kind of like, hey, I'm new to the church here. I'm new to the church. Hey, new family. Come up here and say hi and introduce yourself in front of the whole church. And it's awkward. It's awkward. And I don't like churches like that. And, and really, I don't like clubs like that where, it's all eyes on you. But when everything's said and done in the club meeting or whatever, especially in this club, people, there's certain people that kind of said, hey, man, kind of wanting to get to know me and shake my hand, went out of their way to shake my hand and introduce themselves and want to get to know me, and that's what you want in a club. You want to be open to people from all over, no matter what part of life you come, especially when you're in a leadership position in a club. You want to be open. And also, don't shun these guys on CB radio. Don't shun them. Now, we can make our jokes about them. We can do all that, and that's fun. That's part of the whole radio fun. But remember, most of us came from this, okay? I was born into this, okay? This never left, okay? I'm just saying. I've got so many stories. But don't shun these guys, right? Don't shun these guys, because most of us, if we're honest with ourselves, came from the chicken band, okay? We came from there. And some of us are still in that, it's a hobby. And listen, when I got my license, a bunch of us were all on the radio, on the CB radio, sitting there talking late at night and everything. We had the troublemakers come on, and we're like, you know what? Let's filter out those troublemakers out by getting our license, and we could go to bands that they can't go to because it's idiot proof. It's a stupid filter, okay? And we did, and I was so glad that I did. Met a lot of great people, had a lot of great times, and because I've had more fun in ham radio clubs than I ever did in any CB club, for real. And I had a couple of CB clubs I was into that were really cool and really fun. But anyway, I'm getting long on this. But don't shun these guys. Don't shun this hobby, because you should go over here and you see someone. I'll tell you a little story and I'll go. So there was a Whitney club. I could say this because the guy's silent key now. I don't want to sit there and embarrass somebody, but he's silent key now. There's a Whitney club in Whitney, Texas. There's a guy that ran the thing, even though he was not the president of the club, but he ran it, one of those kind of guys. And, he saw me at a gas station. I had a 102-inch stainless steel whip and a CB in my pickup truck. He says, you need to get off that crap right there and have you one of these. Show me his radio he had in his car, his truck. And I was like, oh, that's cool and everything. Get away from all that. That's just nothing but trouble. You're so much better than that, blah, 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 blah. He turned me away. He turned me away from it. It's like, instead of getting to know me and what I like in radio and all that, he was like looking down on me. He was looking down at my hobby. Again, we can sit here and joke amongst ourselves and blah, 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 but he wasn't joking. And guess what I didn't do? I didn't get my license. I didn't get my license when I did. As a matter of fact, it turned me away, but later on, I did get my license. It wasn't because of him. And guess what? The reason why, because I lived in Whitney, Texas. The reason why I didn't, wasn't a member of the Whitney club was because of that guy. And most of the guys that were in a part of that Bosque County club we're members of that club because we didn't like that one guy. He ran people off because he was in control of everything. He had to have his hands in everything, and he looked down on people and blah blah blah. He thought he was the greatest thing ever in amateur radio, and that's the reason why we went. And when he passed away, guess what happened? The Bosque County Club all went back to the Whitney Club, and the Bosque County Club is no more. See what I'm saying? So be nice to these guys, and because you just never know. You just never freaking know. Guys, I appreciate you guys watching this video. To me, it's important because this is something that I've been into for all my life, off and on. There's been times where I, had these in a box or in a closet or something, but I've been in amateur radio since the 80s. I haven't had my license since the 80s, but my mom got hers in the 80s, and I've been into everything for so long. Been to Hamfest as a kid. I mean, again, I don't know why I've got freaking, that's embarrassing. I'm sitting there freaking doing something. Anyways, guys, hopefully you guys have a good day and listen to this a little bit. And when I get that new radio, I'll put it out here. I'll do like a review and do all that kind of stuff. There'll be content for this channel during this slow season. No storms this time of year. Anyways, guys, 73.